Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Chiamazing show. This is Chiamazing here, bringing you gaming type news and stuff for this Friday, August 10th. I'm going to go over a few things very quickly that are more like updates before I get into the big stories. First thing is Atlas has confirmed Persona 5. That's awesome. I love Persona. Crytek's showing off the CryEngine 3. Link to that if you want to see it. Assassin's Creed 3 for PC is going to be released on November 23rd. It's just a little bit after the consoles, but it's not as bad as like the first one. So if you're interested in getting Assassin's Creed 3 for PC, there you go. Zynga COO John, and I'm probably going to get this horribly wrong, Schubert has resigned. Best Buy is going to have another gaming blowout, Gaming Blowout 2.0. It was leaked, and it starts August 12th and ends August 18th. I'll actually post a link to a site that has a price layout for several of the items that will be on sale. So if you see anything you want, be sure to hit Best Buy during the sale, pick it up. The Ouya Kickstarter, which started on July 10th, and it was originally set for $950,000. I reported on it before. It blew up. It got a lot of money. Well, it finally ended, and it rose a total of almost $8.6 million. That is a ton of money. It also has its first really big publisher, being Square-Enix. They have said, hey, we're going to do something. I think there's a couple others that are saying, hey, we might. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And speaking of people on the fence, Sony is struggling to get some of these third-party publishers to produce content for the Vita. In a quote from SCE Worldwide CEO, we're having a more difficult time than we anticipated in terms of getting support from third-party publishers, but that's our job. And yes, it is their job, and it kind of sucks that the Vita's not really getting the support it deserves. But hopefully Assassin's Creed for Vita will change some of that. I think Sony's hoping that it'll change some of it, so we'll see how that goes. Next two stories tying together. The first one is image of the next generation Kinect 2, which was leaked from the source that gave us the Durango dev kit pics. So I think most people are assuming it's pretty accurate. I'm not huge into Kinect, but it does seem pretty cool. A finger detail is pretty nice. And the other tie-in is we could see the next Xbox within the next 18 months. A job advertisement listed the following. Over the next 18 months, we will release new versions of all of our most signature products, including Windows, Office, and Xbox. I think this kind of pretty much coincides with what a lot of people believe at the moment. We're going to see the next gen holiday 2013, not 2014, but sometime next year, which is also probably part of the reason why July game sales were so bad. Here's how bad they were. I'm going to have to look at this because there's a lot of numbers here. They were at 584 million, which is 20% down from last year at this time, which happens to be the worst since October of 2006. NCAA 13 topped the list and was the only new release title in the top 10. That's crazy. Hardware was down 32% to 150 million. That's to be expected. The consoles are later in their life, they're not going to sell as much. Accessories was up 8% to 136 million. This also counts Xbox Live point cards and any subscription-based cards and such. And it also adds in Skylander figure packs. And the reason that's notable is because Skylander figures have sold 25 million since last October. That is ridiculous. Overall, it's summer. Sales are going to be down. That happens. Generally doesn't happen this bad, but coming off of a kind of economic downturn, being this late in the console's life, it doesn't surprise me too much, and I don't think it's really something to worry about too much. There's something to worry about is the fact that Blizzard's internal network was hacked. Some Battle.net information was tampered into. Not financial. You don't have to worry about your credit cards, but your email, security questions, your password may have been compromised. Blizzard just came out and said, we don't think, they have enough to get anyone's account. But you might want to go check and change your shit, just in case. EVE Online maker CCP has raised $20 million in funding. Now, a lot of this is going to be used for Dust 514. The surprising bit is it could also possibly be used to set up for an IPO. They're not incredibly huge, but they're pretty good at what they've done. Eve's a very long-lasting game, and Dust 514 is looking pretty good. And I'm going to get into more of that because there happens to be an update coming to Dust 514. In case you don't know what Dust 514 is, it is a first-person shooter that is currently in closed beta that's based in the Eve universe. This update that they're doing is going to migrate the Dust 514 server onto an Eve test server. The server is Singularity, and what that means is you're going to have Eve and Dust 514 players playing on the same server. They're going to be able to talk to each other. They're going to be able to communicate with each other. That's a lot of cross-game mechanics they're setting up, and the reason they're setting that up is because of another thing. This is the orbital strike system. Now, at the moment, isn't in yet, and it will go in with this update, and it'll be NPC based that you can use to call orbital strikes. But eventually, as a Dust 514 player, you will be able to request an Eve player to do an orbital strike on a planet, and that is awesome. To be able to get someone who's playing a different game to help you in your game. Patch also is going to add in USB keyboard and mouse support, and it's going to add in instant battle. It's going to be an improved matchmaking service, and it's going to allow you to group up with friends and form a squad and jump into battle. We knew that was going to happen. All FPSs have that. So, in some confusing news, Last Guardian trademark was abandoned, and I know based on that, a lot of people thought that the game got canceled, like, oh, freaking out and stuff. I saw some Facebook posts, I saw some news sites talking about how it was canceled, and a Sony representative has said the game is still alive. We're still working on it. So hopefully that will quell all that. I'm not going to say for certain the game isn't going to be canceled. It could be canceled, but people are jumping the gun a lot on this, just like the Versus 13 thing. Where it's like, oh, I heard it's going to get canceled, and then everyone said it was going to get canceled. And Square had to go, no, it's not. So hopefully people will calm down a little bit about the cancel stuff. And some slightly sad news, but not entirely sad. One of the doctors is leaving BioWare, but not BioWare entirely. Dr. Greg is actually leaving BioWare Austin. He's still part of BioWare, but he wants to take a broader role. He wants to focus on more BioWare games. And they said that this was a temporary thing anyway. He wasn't going to be at Austin forever. They actually already have a replacement. Matt Bromberg replaced him as CEO. Might know Matt, as he was the former CEO of MLG. In some really awesome news, Epic Games is opening a Maryland studio, Impossible Studio. It has developers from Big Huge Games, 38 Studios, which, side note, is now owned by Rhode Island. What happened with that really sucked. So this is really good news. They're currently working on Infinity Blade Dungeons, but the most exciting thing I have to say is actually the logo. Ridiculous, it's crazy. And the final bit of news, Epic production director Rod Fergusson has left for Irrational game. Has not had the best of luck lately. There was the cancellation of 2 multiplayer modes. The art director Nate Wells leaving. The product developer Tim Gerritsen, I probably messed that up. These were senior people. Put a lot of doubt into Irrational and into Bioshock Infinite. It's good that they got Rod. He left Epic to go to Irrational to help finish this game. Predict good things for this. He's going to take Tim's place. I think it can help ease people's fears. There's a quote from Mark Rain of Epic saying, "Interwebs have my official permission to be unworried about Bioshock Infinite." So it's in good hands. Those people even had to have hurt development a little, but I don't think it was quite as severe as a lot of people were making it out to be. I don't think it was, this game's never coming out. Now, it could have been the beginning of a ball that caused the game to not come out. I think this is actually going to offset a lot of the negativity there. So I'm not at all worried. I expect Bioshock Infinite to be an amazing game. That's about all I have for new stuff. I do want to give a real quick shout out. Greg Miller, who works for IGN, was recently diagnosed with cancer. Very treatable form of cancer, so hopefully he will have a speedy recovery. So keep him in your thoughts, prayers, whatever you do, and go to IGN. Wish him the best, and I will see you guys Monday.